I'm here with bannister and we will talk about the WCR station. Hello, Lynn.
Hello.
How important is local news to community? What do you think?
It's very important these days. For years there have been local radio stations in the Wolverhampton area, but over recent years they've all become part of larger parent companies. They still do local news, but it's maybe not as much as it used to be, or if they do a local news bulletin, it has to cover a bigger area. There are some stations which will cover Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Shrewsbury, Coventry, Worcester, all in the same bulletin. So although there are local stories in there, the whole bulletin is not necessarily local. So local news is, for its own area, very important indeed.
And why this happen?
It's simple market forces in a way. In the same way that television came together, ITV used to be many different companies. These days it's one, maybe two or three groups. And the same has happened with radio. It's a desire to make money for shareholders, as any good business should do. But the effect is that you have one radio station covering multiple areas and having to serve all those areas at the same time. That's the only reason for that. And so community radio is designed to provide a properly local service to that specific area and no one else.
And what kind of news does the station do?
What kind of?
News.
News. Hyper local, really. So if there's a fire at a local business, that would be covered. If there is a particularly big crash on the roads, that will be covered. Whereas it may not make it into the bigger news bulletins. It's very important for local people because, of course, that may affect them, or they may be able to see it from where they are. Say they see a plume of smoke and they wonder what's going on. Often the news will not cover that, but a local news bulletin would do. And so it helps people on a very local level. This is what's happening down the road from you, this is what's going on, and hopefully someone will find it interesting.
What's the importance of news to the radio station?
I think it's very important. Radio stations are made up mostly of music. Maybe as background music, but news is important to, say, a community radio station because it gives you somewhere to actually go to hear that news. You can look online, of course, you can look in the local newspapers, but if you want something up to the minute and you know it's not going to be covered by your favourite music radio station, you can flick across and hear the actual local news bulletin there. You know what you're going to get because you know that they will be building up a reputation for that sort of news, so you know it's going to be there. And then if you want to go back to your music station later on, you can do. But the trick is for the local station that you switch across to have news, but also the music and the programmes that you know you're going to like as well.
Do you believe social media affect the radio ratings?
More now than before, yes I do. It's important for any radio station to have some social media presence, and they're realising it now. I think a little late in my opinion, but it's happening because there's so much media out there. You've got to tell people about it. You've got to shout loud. So and also if there's a news story happening, you can tweet it or put it on Facebook. Usually tweeting it is a better way. But you do it as a bit of a teaser. So you say this is happening here. Tune into the radio for more at the next hour. 2:00, whatever it might be. So it's very important these days.
And why WCR FM is closing down?
It's not closing as such. WCR is a community radio station that was, up until recently, part funded by Wolverhampton City Council. Now, Wolverhampton City Council have got issues with their finances at the moment, so they're looking at ways to save money. And up until December 2013, I worked for WCR, and my job was part funded by the council. But then the council cut the funding to WCR. And so those who were employed there, including me, we were made redundant. So at the moment it's very difficult for them to move forward because they don't have the council funding, and it may be at some point that they close. They may not. They intend to continue, and if they can raise enough money, either by funding or advertising, then they will continue. But the difference between the future for WCR and how they were in the past is they have no council funding. They are completely separate these days, so it's a very tough future for them at the moment.
And now you are working in a new local radio station?
Yes, there's a new online station called The City, which is part of Wolverhampton City Broadcasting. It's online only at the moment, and it's I suppose similar to WCR, The station is more out there at the moment in the public view, if you like. But the difference is that it's currently privately funded via advertising. You know, it's almost entirely advertising. But again, the difference between this new online station and WCR has a licence from Ofcom to broadcast on FM to Wolverhampton area. The new station is not licensed by Ofcom, but because it's not broadcasting on FM, it's only online. It doesn't currently, under current rules, it doesn't need to have a broadcasting licence. However, it does have to have music broadcasting licences in order for it to be legal. So it's not a pirate station as such, but it's a legal online station. But one of the other differences with the new station is that yes, it does do local news in the same way that WCR does, but it's almost promoting Wolverhampton to the local area and to the rest of the world. So perhaps you might have expats living in Spain or Italy or wherever it might be, you know, English people living abroad. It would perhaps provide them with an online radio station from back home. That's one of the differences, and that's one of the ways it's going to push is promoting Wolverhampton to itself and to the rest of the world.
Thank you very much.
That's all right. Thank you.